What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with another Destiny 2 video. And in this one we're going to preview a whole bunch of pretty significant changes that we're going to see in the game as we head into the final shape. And in some cases, there's a little bit of connectivity between the Into the Light updates that we're getting in April and the content updates and changes that will drop in June alongside the expansion. So, aside from new content, we're going to talk about updates to reward systems, quality of life changes, updates to vendors like Xur, but also HUD and UI updates, new ritual armor in the final shape, changes for weapon crafting, buffs for exotics, and a whole bunch of other items. But we'll touch on reveals for the final shape, which are going to begin in the next few weeks, as well as the season finale and the April update. So there's plenty to talk about in the video. But firstly guys, all of us spend a lot of time looking at screens these days, whether we're at work, browsing the web, or playing games. And back in 2010 we were spending an average of 3 hours a day on screens, but fast forward to now and that's closer to at least 7 hours a day, and all of these devices can take a toll on our eyes as they produce blue light, and that can be harmful to our vision, but is also one of the major causes of headaches, eye strain, and issues sleeping. And that's where GMG performance eyeglasses come in. GMG glasses can improve our gaming experience by reducing the strain put on our eyes by filtering out blue light, and that can help to ward off headaches, eye strain, and improve concentration, which allows us to work or play for longer, as well as protecting against long-term harm to our vision. I've been using the GMG Uranus glasses for nearly 3 years now, and they're really comfortable when I'm working on my PC for long periods, and especially following long work days or gaming sessions. I've noticed fewer negative effects of eye strain. Plus they're really stylish and they don't have any weird tints or colours, so you'll hardly notice that you're wearing them. On top of that though, GMG also offer sleep gummies, and they boost melatonin and contain passiflora, and both of those help us to relax and sleep after a long day. And so if you want to protect your vision, right now GMG have a huge 40% discount for the next 48 hours exclusively when you use my link below. So it's totally worth checking it out, and if you want to pick some up for nearly half price, be sure to click the first link in the description box today. All of the details for that are down below, and thanks to GMG for sponsoring the video. Now though, getting into the content for today's video, and firstly, during the Into the Light period, which is going to be between April and June, we will initially see the season finale for Season of the Wish. And so this is connected to a Season 23 triumph called Closer to the Heart, and Bungie have confirmed that this will be a finale mission, dropping in the final few weeks of the season. So this is something we'll experience while the Into the Light update is actually live. But alongside that, we're going to get new gameplay in April, and Bungie have said they'll have much more to share on the final shape during April, when they'll have plenty of new gameplay to showcase what the team is cooking up. So more gameplay showcases, potentially live streams, reveal trailers, and dev insights will be dropping at the same time that we get access to the Into the Light content. So between April and May, things are really going to liven up for the game, and obviously that will continue to ramp up into June when we get the expansion. And with us having a whole bunch of new stuff to farm during Into the Light, Bungie have said they can at least alleviate some of the concerns around vault storage, as they'll be increasing vault space by 100 slots in the final shape. So a little bit more vault space will be available, although a slight clear out of any older items that we don't need may be worth doing as we head up to the Final Shape expansion. But another significant new system that we'll see during Final Shape will be the Pathfinder reward system. Bungie have said we have plans to replace some bounties with a more rewarding and engaging system, which is tentatively called the Pathfinder. This will be debuted on the new destination vendor in the Final Shape, and we're currently nailing down a plan for how we can use this system to replace core ritual bounties in the new year. But Bungie did provide a work in progress preview of the Pathfinder UI with these sort of branching objectives, and while this system will drop on the Final Shape destination vendor, it is something that Bungie are hoping will replace the sort of standard rank system that they have for vendors now. So that's something interesting to look forward to, and no doubt we'll get more information about it soon. On the subject of vendors though, Xur will be seeing an update in the Final Shape, and in the Bungie blog post, as the game director revealed, the Final Shape will see everyone's favourite Jovian, Xur, receive a bit of an update. And with the removal of legendary shards, which of course are going away in the Final Shape, Xur will be looking for some alternative forms of payment for his wares. So it may be that we see strange coins used again for the weekly Xur visits. But beyond that, players certainly hope that the pool will be updated, and that perhaps Xur will have some additional functionality, whether it's in relation to crafting, weapon rolls, stat packages on gear, or potentially brand new types of rewards. Safe to say Xur needs a bit of love, so hopefully Bungie can make the vendor more interesting when we get the update. Another minor thing that we're going to see includes an update to the shader icon in the Final Shape, and Joe Blackburn had said, we've redone how the icons look in the Final Shape, and there'll be a whole other section of every shader icon to better describe the areas that are shaded. And Joe Blackburn said that all of the colours will be represented on the new icons, with them being organised a bit differently, but overall the more prominent areas or colours will take up more prominent parts of the shader icon, but it'll also include hidden colors which are represented in that icon as well. So the shader thumbnail is going to look quite different as we go into the expansion. Another thing we haven't heard about for a little while, but Bungie had indicated that they're working on HUD and UI updates, and they're targeting final shape for this release. And this will include reorganizing buffs and debuffs, as well as other mechanics which are displayed on screen, as well as weapon perks and bonuses. And we don't know precisely how it will look yet, but Bungie have said they'll talk more about this when they have something to show closer to the final shape, so presumably that's still an update which will be on the table for the expansion. Moving on though, Bungie have been back and forth about ritual armors being added to the game for a little while now. However, they have said that they are prioritizing the delivery of a new ritual armor set alongside the final shape to infuse some new looks that we'll be able to earn from the time in the Vanguard, Crucible, and Gambit playlists. So alongside destination armor and any other items, cosmetics, and Eververse stuff that gets added, we will still get ritual specific armor in the final shape, and it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. Moving on to weapons though, and we are going to see a weapon crafting update in the final shape. This may contain a few different components, but Bungie have said they're making necessary changes to the crafting system, and they're in the middle of developing a large crafting related feature targeted for the final shape year. However, they've said that they'll provide more details about the changes after they've spent more time in the oven. It's worth noting that final shape year is what they referenced, so it doesn't necessarily mean we'll see any significant crafting changes when the expansion drops, but it's entirely possible they'll land in the game a little bit later on, alongside one of the episodes. Otherwise, in relation to weapon changes, we do know about a few updates for exotics, and Bungie have said with the final shape, Necrochasm will be getting a buff to extend the duration of the poison damage over time effect it applies from the Cursed Thrall explosion, but it will also earn a new catalyst called One for Thrall, and this will grant a moderate period of increased damage, range, and aim assist after you damage 3 enemies in quick succession. Then damaging 3 more enemies while the perk is active will refresh the timer, so Necrochasm's going to get a pretty significant buff by the sounds of it, but Bungie have also teased buffs for Truth, Colony, and Deadman's Tale, as well as other exotic weapons. And so while a bunch of sandbox changes were brought forward to the March update and into the light, there'll still be a handful of items updated when the final shape drops as well. And in relation to legendary weapons, Bungie have said in the expansion they'll rebalance many weapon types in PvE, buffing underperforming weapons and leaving most high performers untouched. Plus, over the course of the year, they'll be looking at weapon mods that feel mandatory, and we intend to make some changes that will increase player choice, especially in PvE, and that's alongside substantial changes to several of the least used exotic weapons. So there'll be plenty to come on the weapons front, and otherwise in terms of sandbox, Bungie did tease potential adjustments to Well of Radiance before the final shape's raid. Joe Blackburn said we've had to do this before with things like Divinity and auto-loading, and at some point you're like, hey, this super provides utility that a lot of people like, but we're handcuffing a bunch of our players too. So what's the version of this where we can say, okay, the time for everyone feeling like they have to run this is over, and he simply said in reference to Well of Radiance, we know that we have to make some changes before the final shape's raid. So that's something else which is on the table, especially in combination with the new super that Warlocks are going to be getting. But we'll also see Stasis subclass changes, and Bungie had said that starting in Season of the Wish and continuing in the final shape, they're making a number of quality of life changes to improve Stasis reliability in combat, and we have some long requested changes for a future release that we'll discuss once we're closer, but that includes a new Stasis keyword that they're calling Frost Armor, aimed at addressing some of the player feedback regarding survivability when running Stasis, especially when not using Whisper of Rhyme or Chains. So the Stasis updates that started this season will continue to develop as we go into the final shape, but of course, we'll have to wait for more details. A very last mention here, Bungie had sort of indicated a while back that they weren't going to have any significant changes for Gambit in the near future, but they added that we do have a few updates planned for the year of the final shape, including porting the Cathedral of Scars map from the Dreaming City into the current version of Destiny 2, as well as adding Shadow Legion and Lucent Hive enemy types to Gambit. So that could be potentially interesting, but again, Bungie have said we shouldn't expect any significant changes to the core Gambit gameplay. For today though guys, that's what we have to round up. As always, I'll be keeping you posted with a whole bunch of other changes and updates as we get that information, and with news and reveals for the final shape definitely beginning to ramp up from April. It's worth keeping locked and loaded here on the channel, hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications so that I can keep you up to date. Otherwise, let us know any of your thoughts on the changes we've mentioned down in the comment section, and if you have enjoyed the video today, a rating below very much helps us out on the channel. Otherwise though, I appreciate you tuning in, and whatever you get up to, I hope you guys have an awesome day.